2 meetings.
That's the question.
Yeah. All in favor of that? Carried. Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report 65, the property assessment notices for council direction. First meeting in January. Report back. You want them to come? Get them your date?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we have an open house for the public with our NPAC representative in early January. And in preparation for that, they have a meeting with us as municipal council in advance of that, so that will be informed before the public meeting.
So we're going to have the council meeting prior to the open house that they would come to council prior to having their open house that they, okay? Councilor Rowan?
No, I'll second that.
Second
That's the process we've used in the
Yeah.
past, and it's been effective, and it gets the communication out there, and then the actual workshop or open house has also been well attended in the past, so it's important to do it again.
Okay. Councilor Rowan?
Quick question, would we do it on a Tuesday afternoon so we have a little more time? Expression of have you got the home hardware we're telling on or something? Oh, no.
I'll call it back to order. Our 5-minute break is good.
That's good.
8:14, there's a recommendation on an encroachment of a portion of Riverside Drive Road allowance. Rear deck.
It's on the recommendation.
Move the recommendation. Seconder for that. Councilor McGuire. Question? Councilor Scott?
This place, also beside it, has a parking lot beside a fire hydrant. And I thought we weren't allowed to park beside fire hydrant. There's got to be right there and stuff. And I mean, I realize the lot has nothing that allows you to sit there, but, I mean, why is this septic system by the river, and why is he back on our road allowance? Was the original house on the road allowance?
The septic system actually is in the front yard.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is by the river, correct?
No,
That's
sorry, I consider the front yard the road.
Okay,
Okay, so it's on the road side.
so it's under his gardens.
Yes. It is on the river side of his big stones that are there. The big stones are protected actually, so that no one drives on top of it.
Okay.
This is an issue, and I tried to kind of outline it in my report, back in, I'm not sure when, in Port Franks when the water came, sometimes there were opportunities where people had lifted up their cottage to avoid the flood, and then when they put them down, they weren't exactly back where they were supposed to be. And I noted in my report back in the late 90s, Bazanko did a survey of Riverside Drive to find out where exactly the encroachments are, and this was one that was identified. This agreement basically is to further identify the encroachments and the occupation on the property so that for future services, installations, we know where they are, so we don't damage them. Also to require certain things of the person because of these encroachments and occupations.
So part of the problem I'm having is I'm getting complaints from people walking down the road about Mr. McMahon putting his car on this graveled area, and he has service trucks because he fixes air conditioning, he's an air conditioning company. So he's got these trucks sitting on the pathway that we put in to put our pedestrians so they can have a safe walkway down there. And they're quite upset about it. Most of them suggest that he goes over and rents parking across the street in the gated area where that gentleman rents out spots there. But the other concern that I'm having is the neighbors right around there are saying there's a fire hydrant there. If he's got his equipment there or people are parked there, first of all, we can't get by. And second of all, a fire truck might run right past the hydrant and not be aware it's there because there's always a car parked in front of it. Now, he does have another residence in Port Franks, but there's a lot of concerns about that, and it goes along with the lady on Erie Street too, with all her parking issues down there. So that corner or that sort of area right in there is becoming a bit of a congested area at different times.
There is a setback from Oak Hydrant where you are allowed to park, so I'll just mention to Mr. Bell, because is it on now that they're still using the trucks there, or is that?
I haven't seen him for about a week and a bit, but mostly weekends I would think, or Fridays. But he's right in there, and I mean, he'll park 2 or 3 vehicles there, and I think you have to, I thought you had to be something like 9 meters or something, or 6, how many feet away from a fire hydrant are you supposed to
10 feet.
park? 0.3? That's it?
No, you got
3
money.
meters. Sorry.
3 meters, 10 feet.
9 feet, sorry. That's why I don't know.
There's a car there, we smash the window and put the hose through it.
Well, I'm just concerned, yeah, people are, a small car in there, like my little Vibe would fit in there, but the service trucks.
To the fire department, they're,
Well, I'm sure they are too, but the point is that, what if the forest department had to come down? They're not. If another one had to come in that area, because that, Northville was out, we have an issue.
any other comments on the recommendation? All in favor of the recommendation? Opposed? Carried? Clerk's report 113, composition lamp Shores Fire Board. Mr. Boston.
After much angst over this, reading it, I see some landmines, so I'm going to suggest that we table this report until such time as we can have the fire marshal's office come in at a future date. We have a meeting on October the 18th, and we have another 3 months before we have the next meeting. I would like to see the fire marshal's office come in and sit down with us as a council, maybe on a Tuesday afternoon again, and talk about fire practices, best practices. And I'm still not comfortable with the composition, and I know there's a motion in here that I made earlier, but I didn't have the fire service contracts with me at the time, or I never would have made that motion. And there's also some concern about the quorum still, that a bylaw would cover that. So I'm a little uncomfortable. I would really like to have the fire marshal's office come in and go through with them, policies and procedures, best practices, and if they suggest, yes, do the bylaw, and your composition's fine, then so be it. But I have concerns right now about having a committee of 10, which is what it would be when we have 5 service contracts. We're not doing ourselves a favor. But we can get into that at another time.
Councilor Owen?
Okay, we did have a thorough report or review from the solicitor, I guess, through you to the CAO. We did have reports from the solicitor to assist in making this report and these recommendations. I mean, fine, if that can be a next step, and then the other group that needs to have some feedback in all of this, obviously, is the fire board itself. I mean, they're going to need to look at the mandates, roles, and responsibilities, and I would wonder how long it's been since there's been a review by the fire board, even of the bylaw, just knowing the structure of the board originally, and the reporting mechanisms and everything. So I think there's an educational process here for the fire board as well when all this is said and done. But we've certainly had recommendations from our solicitor. If we need the fire marshal to give us more, well, fine. I'm not going to argue with that, but I think we've got some good recommendations from our solicitor and as to next steps here.
Just clarify for me, does the fire marshal deal with the board?
Deals with the fire department.
They deal with the issues of the fire department more than they do with the board composition or how we...
But the board needs to be educated. That's what I just said that.
Councilor Underwood?
Yeah, boards come under the Service Boards Act under the Municipal Act, and how we figure out and how we form a board for whatever service that we want to have advice upon, recommendations coming from, and a group of people who are specifically put in there with expertise surrounding that. That's what it says in the Municipal Act. My problem is with the Fire Protection Prevention Act. I see that it's mentioned here, and some of it's in there, but there's a few things we've got in here which don't follow from what I've read, the Fire Protection Prevention. And I'm in favor of tabling this until we have a Tuesday to have a good look at it, and with the Fire Protection Prevention Act, and go through that with the Ontario Fire Marshal, and get it done right, instead of putting separate bylaws to prop up an existing bylaw. Let's just make the darn bylaw and make sure we have the board composition and the board meets the needs, what we need as a service board.